Good morning. We ask that you take your seats. Dr. Williams, can you ask our members back there to come and let's get started. Dr. Renee has it. Dr. Renee?
Dr. Belton,
Yes.
is that certificate for the preacher right there was in that folder?
No, Ms. Renee has the one.
The certificate for the preacher.
Are there any other members in the back?
I just remind them to come on out.
Okay, thank you.
Did they sign it already?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Morning.
I'm for getting ready 6 months. I didn't see you right there, right?
2 weeks. Members, good morning to each of you. As we call our meeting to order this morning, I want to announce that the Board of Regents has a very important meeting today at which Dr. Belton and senior administrators' presence is required. I believe that the formal meeting begins at, presentations begin at 1, but the meeting actually begins at 11:30 this morning. We intentionally kept today's agenda light, and so I beg your cooperation and indulgence to try to efficiently undertake today's business such that Dr. Belton and other senior administrators can fully participate in today's meeting. I don't see Dr. Whitfield here, but we would like to ask Mr. Dunbar to read the introduction for the SU Lab student who will provide today's Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Brister, do you have the bios? Do we do that before or after they do the pledge? Before. Okay, will you give them to Mr. Dunbar, please?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Mr. Ian James is an 8th grade student at Southern University Laboratory School. Ian is a young entrepreneur as he plants, grows, and sells watermelon during the summer. He has been attending Southern University Laboratory School since the 4th grade. Currently, he is in the marching band and plays baseball for the Baton Rouge Astros. Ian has a smile that is contagious, and he exhibits a tremendous amount of school pride. Ian is the son of Mr. and Mrs. Ernest James. Mrs. James is a 2005 graduate of Southern University.
All right. What's the student's name again?
Mr. Ian James.
Mr. James, will you? Oh, there he is. Sorry.
Rutledge, President Belton, members of the board, and distinguished guests, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with which it is for all.
Thank you. And if you'll just stay right there, Mr. James, we have a certificate that we'd like to present to you.
I just want to let everybody know that this is one of my former students at
Oh,
the
very
Big Buddy
good.
program. So I've kind of watched him, grow up. So this is kind of special. I heard stand on it, sorry.
He told me to stand on it.
Thank you, thank you. Now we recognize Dr. Talbot for the, I'm sorry? Dr. Talbot for the invocation.
Today, our invocation will be presented by Father Dan Kreutz, who serves as the ecumenical officer in the Episcopal Diocese of Western Louisiana before becoming the executive director of the Louisiana Interchurch Conference in 1992, where he has now been serving for over 27 years. Before taking that position with the LIC, Father Dan had served congregations in Amite, New Orleans, and Shreveport. He currently also serves as priest for St. Francis Episcopal Church in Denham Springs. Father Kreutz has his BA from Southern Methodist University, a Master of Divinity from Berkeley Divinity School, and a Doctor of Ministry from Virginia Theological Seminary. He was ordained as an Episcopal priest in 1971. With other leadership in the Louisiana Interchurch Conference, he helps to facilitate advocacy for social justice for the people of Louisiana and beyond, particularly for those who are vulnerable and with little influence. The LIC works in a collaborative way with many groups to bring about more just society for future generations. He's married to the former Julia Ann Clark of Dallas. They married in 1973. Father Dan and his wife have 2 grown sons and twin grandchildren, a boy and a girl. Their grandchildren live in Virginia. And in addition, listen to this, they have Mac, a golden retriever, and Roger, a tabby cat, and they all reside in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. My friend, Father Dan Kreutz, will at this time lead us in the invocation.
Thank you, Dr. Talbot. And I didn't realize my secretary had sent that lengthy. Anyway, I'm proudest of our grandchildren, Stella and Deacon, who were with us as we celebrated a surprise birthday party for my wife last weekend. Mr. Rutledge and Dr. Belton and members of the Board of Trustees and guests, it's a pleasure to be with you, and I'm honored that Dr. Talbot reached out to me. Let us pray. O eternal God, bless all schools, colleges, and universities, and especially the Southern University system and family of institutions, that they may be lively centers for sound learning, new discovery, and the pursuit of wisdom. And grant that those who teach and those who learn may find you to be the source of all truth. We pray your blessing upon Mr. Rutledge, the chair, and Dr. Belton, our president, that you may be with them in their leadership. We also give you thanks for another new academic year with all its hopes and promises. Send your spirit of wisdom and understanding, of compassion and gentleness upon the trustees as they hear the matters that come before them on this day. May your spirit guide them to wise decisions that will continue to bring new life to all the entities touched by their actions. May we reach out and welcome more students. Help us in our care of the faculty and staff. May we be good stewards of resources that have been given to us. May we make wise decisions in employing new personnel. And yet, yes, please watch over all those involved in our athletic programs and other programs that help bring about the well-rounded student and graduate that is the ultimate goal of all that we do. We praise you, O Divine One, for the Jaguar Nation, and we offer these expressions of thanksgiving and petition to honor you and to seek your counsel and comfort. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Father Dan, and I've been mispronouncing your name for about 20 years, but I can say Dan. On behalf of our chairman, Attorney Rutledge, the president, Dr. Belton, and our board of supervisors, we want to present to you this certificate of appreciation for providing spiritual enrichment for the September monthly meeting here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Talbot, and especially thank you, Father Kurtz, for being here this morning. We now recognize Dr. Kerman Gaines, Chairman of the Academic Affairs Committee.
Mr. President, roll call, please. Yes. Dr. Gaines?
Here.
Dr. Davis? Mr. Bartholomew? Mr. Gillum? Dr. Tarver? Dr. Tolbert?
Here.
Attorney Rutledge?
Here.
You have a quorum, sir.
Thank you. We're now at item 4, is the adoption of the agenda. Are there any items to be added to the agenda at this time? Okay,
Second.
we have a move and second to adopt the agenda as printed. We're now at item 5, is public comments. Are there any public comments relating to the Academic Affairs Committee? Public comments. Hearing none, we move to item 6, which is a special presentation. I'd like to call on Chancellor Pierre to make the presentation. Briefly, sir.
No, actually,
I think Dr. Belton is making
Oh, you wanna make
yes,
it?
sir. And Mr. Chair and members, it is my pleasure to offer some comments with regard to what has constituted to be a momentous week for Southern University and A&M College. Specifically, this week was marked by Southern University being established as the first HBCU institution to have been selected by the Central Intelligence Agency in keeping with their initiative to establish a workforce development partnership as a part of the White House initiatives for HBCUs. And as you know, we've been working with them for some time. We had the pleasure of hosting them throughout the week at the game and during the career fair. And while a number of things remain top secret, we have really appreciated the opportunity to engage with the CIA. We are honored today to have 2 representatives from the CIA with us, one being Ms. Sharonda Dorsey, who's engaging with us by phone, and one of Southern University's alumni, Ms. Verna Brown, who's with us this morning. And so I was going to ask if they would, Verna, if you would come forth, and Sharonda, if you would join us in just offering some comments about the promise of this partnership. Sharonda, are you there?
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
We can.
Yes.
Yes, we hear you clearly.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Belton. I must first extend special thanks to your communications and technical team for accommodating our special communication challenges and affording me the opportunity to participate. I do apologize that I can't be there in person, but I do thank my colleague Verna for being there. As Dr. Belton mentioned, Monday marked a momentous day for not only Southern University, but also for the agency, as we like to call ourselves. As an agency, we've always prided ourselves as hiring the best and the brightest. And both my colleagues as well as myself have found that within the Southern University system. For what our visits down there, what we have come across is that not only do you have top-notch leadership, but also the faculty, staff, and the students excel in all areas. So we are very excited about this partnership. In my role as the Chief of Talent Acquisition, my specific selection of Southern University, the Southern University system as a pilot institution for our White House initiative, and the success of this partnership is truly the result of the superior leadership of Dr. Belton, as well as Dr. Ammons, as well as Ms. Tamara Montgomery, who has welcomed us with open arms. And I look forward to continuing that partnership. I would be remiss if I didn't highlight that their level of engagement with not only my team, but numerous CIA executive leaders, both here in DC, as well as those who have traveled with us to Baton Rouge, were a testament to their commitment and dedication, not only to the Southern University system, but also to the faculty, staff, and student body. And as someone who did not attend an HBCU, seeing that dynamic and their engagement overall was truly a blessing to me and really made me wish I had attended an HBCU. In particular, the value that they have placed on driving innovation, using cutting-edge technologies to remain on top of current trends across multiple fields of study, and facilitating a curriculum of global awareness, and most importantly, their focus on setting every student up for success were key factors in the establishment of this relationship. I will highlight that as we move forward, we look forward to working with the leadership, faculty, and staff of the system, and I look forward to a long-lasting partnership with Dr. Belton and the many other leaders who represent the Southern system. As I acknowledged earlier, this relationship could not have been possible without Dr. Belton, Dr. Ammons, as well as Ms. Montgomery. So I want to personally thank them. And to the board, I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak. And I do hope to see you when we come back down, I believe in November. And at this time, I will turn it over to my colleague and Southern University alum, Verna.
Thank you, Sharonda. Chairman Rutledge, Dr. Belton, Dr. Ammons, Ms. Montgomery, and I want to just thank the members of the board. In particular, I want to thank Mr. Raymond Fondale because he has also been instrumental in ensuring that this relationship has been a success. I am just absolutely honored to stand here as an alum of Southern University and to represent my organization, the Central Intelligence Agency, in establishing this partnership. You're the first university to be established as this pilot under the White House HBCU initiative. I just want to highlight, we picked Southern University. We're more than 1,000 miles away from my headquarters at CIA. We traveled past a lot of HBCUs to reach down into the state of Louisiana here in Baton Rouge to make this happen. And it was only, and as Sharonda said, it was because of the leadership of this great university and the partnership with so many faculty and so many of your staff that made this happen. I will be flying back today, and I just tell you, I'm going to have a smile on my face because when I walk through my halls on Monday morning, I know that my university will be represented and we will have a lasting relationship between Southern University and CIA. As Sharonda highlighted, this MOU means that not only do we have this sustainable relationship, but we're going to be here on this campus. We're going to be here. We're not just going to show up for a career fair. We're going to be here often. And when Sharonda said November, but we're probably going to be back here in October, November. We're going to be here next year as well. And again, I just want to say thank you. Thank you to Dr. Belton. Thank you to the board. And again, just thank you for allowing me to have such a big smile on my face when I go back home to CIA. Thank you.
Thank you. It goes without saying that we are very grateful to you, Verna and Sharonda. I've come to know that we typically have to call them by first names, not last names. Right. But they have been so instrumental in working with the university and making this a reality for us. During your Board of Supervisors meeting, or the convening of the Board of Supervisors meeting itself, Mr. Chair and members, we would be requesting that you consider a memorandum of a memorandum of agreement with the Central Intelligence Agency. And that agreement, as Verna made mention, it doesn't speak to just participation in a career fair, but an opportunity to really shape a substantive relationship that's mutually beneficial and speaks to potential grant opportunities and workshops and symposiums where we have the opportunity to really engage with students. And so, again, thank you, and thank you, Dr. Gaines, for allowing us to engage in this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gaines, and this is an example of the benefits of not only the presentation that the university made and impressed upon the Central Intelligence Agency, but it's also a stellar example of the benefits we derive when we have engaged alums. This lady and her husband are backbones of the Washington, D.C. chapter. I believe Vincent, her husband, is the immediate past president of the Washington, D.C. chapter, and I think you are either the past or current treasurer. Past treasurer.
Yeah.
But they are actively engaged and have been for a very, very, very long time. And we thank you for your leadership. We certainly appreciatively acknowledge all of the work of everybody who has contributed to the success that we're enjoying today. And we know with this designation come expectations, and we hope not only to meet them but exceed them. So thank you very, very much.
I want you to give that to her.
Okay, and we're gonna, I've been asked to pin you with a lapel pin, so I'll ask Dr. Belton if you would join me. And the vice chairman and anybody else who would like to.
Vice Chairman.
Would the board join them? Join them? Dr. Tucker?
I know.
Sorry.
Thank you, Dr. Gaines. I would like to say that in a small way, it's about us helping to protect our country by being able to provide the Central Intelligence Agency opportunities to have some of our best and brightest students to go to work for them. So this does mean an awful lot, and I hope that we can continue to grow the relationship. So with that being said, I just want to say to those, especially to the agents that have come down, thank you so very much for what you've done in making this possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fondell. We are now at action item 7, and I am correct this time, Chancellor Pierre. You're on.
Dr. Gaines, I think he's telling us that the young lady is still on the phone. Do we want to does she have any closing comments? Do we want to disconnect her? We're done? Yes, she said we can disconnect.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Chancellor Pierre.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Gaines, members of the committee, members of the board. We have a request to establish a college spring evening and weekend admission program for the Southern University Law Center. And we're doing this because we continuously see the need to innovate and be prepared for the next round of innovations that are going on in legal education, and position the Law Center to be in a place where we can be ready to deal with the constant need for access to legal education. Most law schools, 90% of law schools, do not provide admission in the spring semester. There are a few that do, and after looking at some of the things that we're trying to do across the state of Louisiana, particularly when the Board of Regents begins to look at innovation with respect to the Shreveport campus, potentially for the Law Center, we need to be prepared to look at different ways for people to access legal education. And this is one way that we might be able to do it, and I wanted to at least have the ability to do it as a pilot. Doesn't mean that we will necessarily begin in spring 2020, but we're gonna start studying the issue and figure out how we can do it. We have to consider situations related to facilities and other issues about faculty, but we believe that this is a good step for us to explore, and we believe that there is a market for spring enrollment given the fact that the LSAT now is given 6 times a year versus 4 times a year. So we asked the board to allow us to engage in that process, and let's just see what we can find, and hopefully we'll find some good things, and if we don't, we won't do it.
Thank you, Chancellor Pierre. Are there any questions for Chancellor Pierre? Oh, Dr. Tarbett.
Brief question. Is there a particular attrition rate at the law school between the first and second semester?
There is not a particular attrition rate. The only thing that by standard, the ABA basically wants to know if you have an attrition rate above 20%, because they get to be concerned about when you have academic attrition above 20%. Now, attrition could also be attributed to the fact that people are transferring or people are deciding not to continue, but the real focus is on academic attrition. And for us, the academic attrition usually is not more than about 10 to 12% from first to second year. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you, Chancellor Pierre. Do you have a motion? And a second? Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, vote with the sign of aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion is approved. We are now at item 8, other business.
Wish to speak.
Oh, I didn't see that. Mr. Fondell.
Yeah, Chancellor, my question is with regards to, I know you've thought through this, is there a certain type of student that you're looking at more so probably as professionals because of the time frame that you're offering on the weekends? Is it more geared toward maybe older professionals out there who may want to have an opportunity to go back to law school or to go to law school for the first time?
Well, that's certainly one part of it, but what's happening is that we have a lot of younger undergraduate students that are graduating in mid-year, they're graduating in December, and for those students, they typically have to wait until the next fall to become law students if that's their desire. So we're trying to determine, what kind of market that is, particularly since they start giving the LSAT exam in July. And we saw this past time. There were students who wanted to come to school in the fall. They took the LSAT in July, but they didn't get their score until about the end of August, or mid to late August. Well, we had already started school, and there were people who said, hey, I'd like to come to law school. We said, well, too bad we've started. But that made me think, well, what if we had a spring admission? Perhaps we could pick up a few students. The other possible benefit is this. As Dr. Tarver mentioned, there's certainly going to be a certain amount of attrition. And for purposes of, which is, what we're doing now, we have to figure out always about our finances. If we could find the quality students to bring in the spring, we basically replace that revenue that we would have lost because of the attrition. And the mid-year, we also have mid-year commencement. So that's certainly part of the driver, yes.
All right, thank you.
Was there anyone else want to speak on this issue? Previous question been called. All in favor of the motion, vote with the sign of aye.
I think we've already carried the motion. Yeah, we had the discussion after. We carried the motion.
Thank you. We're now at item 9, which is adjournment.
Move.
Moved in second. Mr. Chair, this committee stands adjourned.
Thank you, Dr. Gaines. We now go to the Facilities and Property Committee. Chairman Henry.
Good morning. The Facilities and Properties Committee is now called to order. Roll call vote, Mr. President.
Yes. Reverend Henry. Dr. Whitfield. Ms. Bartholomew. Dr. Davis. Mr. Hilliard. Mrs. Smith. Attorney Rutledge.
Here.
You have a quorum, sir.
Thank you. We need a motion for the adoption of the agenda.
Move.
Been properly moved in second. All in favor say yes. Aye. Opposed? Motion passed. Public comment. Any public comments this morning on any agenda items? Seeing that there's none, we're gonna move to number 5, information items, priority projects by Mr. Eli.
Good morning, Honorable Chairman and distinguished board members. In your board package, you will find a detailed list of items that covers a range of capital outlay items and status of projects. I would like to report on a few items from that list, in particular pertaining to the fire that we had at the School of Nursing. I'd like to give a real great honor to Mr. Ben Pugh and Dr. Brown for pulling together their team to remedy that problem and bring in outside source over approximately about 200 outside individuals to go in and address the fire damage, smoke, and water damage. At this particular time now on the east side of the building where the main damage took place from smoke and water, we are a few months away from having that fully resolved. On the west side of the building, we are looking at Monday to have that side of the building used for educational purposes. Also pertaining to demolition of projects for the New Orleans and Baton Rouge campus, along with FP&C, we have selected a number of architects to move forward with the demolition of Jones Hall, Architecture West, Lot Anthony, and also the natural science in the old science building at the New Orleans campus, the other projects for demolition such as Jesse Owens and the Dairy Farm and Washington Hall, and old infirmary building. Selection of the designer is moving forward rapidly on that. For the Baton Rouge campus, A.W. Mumford Stadium, I've received a number of phone calls on how they were really impressed with the ADA accessibility, restroom upgrades, sidewalk repairs, the overall infrastructure of the stadium as well. Along with F.G. Clark, we are working out punch list items on that and moving forward to another phase of that project. The lab school, we met with FPNC last week for another review of the lab school for future renovations, and we'll be moving forward on that shortly. The Ravine and Road project making tremendous amount of progress. The access road for Mills Avenue will be moving forward in construction in November and be completed in December, and proceed with the main two bridge areas. Stewart Hall making tremendous amount of progress. Fisher Hall, we met with FPNC and the designer for that project, and we are interviewing professors and building analysis for that. The Suno campus, we are starting the electrical project very soon. The contract has been initiated. Educational building, we are doing some punch list items to bring that building forward, but the building is in use. The Shreveport campus mechanical system upgrades, that's in planning, design, and hopefully that will be sent out for bids end of this month or next month. That will complete my report. If you have any questions, I'll feel free to answer.
The chair recognizes Attorney Pat McGee for approximately 10 seconds.
That's more time than I get at home, I promise you. Mr. Guillory, let's circle back to the nursing school, if you will. Were we able, on our own, to determine the cause and origin of the fire in the nursing school?
We are still waiting on the investigative.
Well, I didn't ask about the investigation, Mr. Guillory. I asked if we were able to determine the cause and origin. If we're not able to determine the cause, that's understandable, but I think we kind of should know where the fire started, correct?
Yes, in
And
room.
where did the fire start?
Yes, it started in a room. There was a electrical receptacle that we.
Mr. Guillory, what room did it start in?
274.
And who's the occupant of that room?
I would have to yield to Dr. Brown.
Dr. Brown?
Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Brown. Congratulations on your ascension to being the dean of the nursing school, and we certainly hope this endeavor is worthwhile.
Well,
Who's
I'm
the
only 52 days in my new role, and I never thought I'd be baptized by fire.
Literally.
Literally. Mr. Guillory gave a brief overview of the conditions of the School of Nursing. As you all know, the fire started Sunday about 1 a.m. in one of the faculty offices, Dr. Jacqueline Hill's office. It was contained to that one office, fortunately. However, when the sprinkler system came on, it came on with a vengeance. And a downpour of water, and water pipes broke, is my understanding. So the whole second floor where the faculty suites are have been damaged. Computers, furniture, so all of the faculty areas is non-usable. The first floor, which we call our central hub of operation, is the dean's area, the conference room, our office of admissions, and our central business operations office are also demolished. The ceiling caved in from the weight of the water, causing an excess amount of water damage to that entire area. Fortunately, none of the classrooms were damaged. Our simulation lab is secure, our skills lab. So all of the areas that we use for student learning are intact. The faculty and staff were engaged. This week we were not able to enter the building because of the air quality. They're in the process of trying to remove the soot in the air vents. So we were not able to enter the building, but my faculty were able to utilize technology to deliver the content remotely. So student learning was actively engaged this week. Next week, as a contingency plan, if the building is still not at the part where we can enter it and access it due to the air quality, we do have a contingency plan. At this point, I'd like to recognize my extreme gratitude to Dr. Wanda Spurlock, who worked with me side by side, sunrise to sunset, ensuring that we had a contingency plan in place. The outpour of support from Dr. Sahu, Dr. Ammons, to make sure that we maintained academic structure in place was very appreciative, as well as the outpour and support from the local, state, and national level. It was heartwarming to know how beloved our School of Nursing is, and I'm here to convey to the board that we will prevail. The School of Nursing is resilient, and we will emerge from these ashes even stronger. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Brown, and to the individuals that you mentioned as well, Dr. Spurlock and the other individuals who were involved in addressing this dire situation. I understand that there may be some insurance funds available for rebuilding or renovating, one of the two, the burned down room. Are we going to attempt to access any state and or federal funds to assist in this endeavor?
The cost will be resolved by our insurance through risk management.
Through ISIR. Okay, well, I understand, and I'm not, and I'm going to try to make this a little quicker, Mr. Chair. I understand that there may be some funds, long 10 seconds, some funds available through the state of Louisiana not involved with our self-insured retention for emergencies and things of the sort. I'm going to back up. Dr. Belton, I'd just like for you to take a look at that. Maybe get with our political folks to see if we can reach out to individuals in the legislature, not only from the Baton Rouge delegation, but from Dr. Brown and I's Lafayette delegation, who I think would be very desirous, receptive. Thank you very much. Very receptive to ensuring that we get this building back in action, because, to be quite candid, one of the jewels of the Southern University system is our nursing program here in Baton Rouge, as well as in some of the ancillary programs that we have in Shreveport. Thank you very much, Dr. Brown and Mr. Gurley, and thank you for your time, Chairman Henry.
At this time, we recognize Dr. Gilly.
Thank you, Reverend Henry, and I assure you this will be quick. This is regarding Mr. Gilroy, if you would, just a word, an update on the situation with the gymnasium there in Shreveport, because the chancellor and his staff have been working diligently, and they've come up with some alternate sources in terms of trying to accommodate the basketball team. It's having to be displaced, as you know. They have tried, I know, to try to look at the David Rain Center. And as I understand it, that isn't quite going to work because the configuration is not quite what it should be. And the latest I heard, they had gotten a talk with, I believe, our illustrious former board president, Dottie Bell, who is now on the Caddo Parish School Board, trying to help us go to Fair Park, which is still across town. My concern is, of course, the convenience and the welfare of my students. So what's the status with FPNC in terms of the time frame on this?
Okay, we met this week on that particular project, and the initiation of setting up project number for that project, and along with a couple other projects, to reach out and select a designer to initiate. So we are also meeting next week for further updates on that.
Okay, so, follow up if you don't. So we still just have to get a number and a planning?
Yes, sir.
Year?
Oh, no.
Semester?
We are looking at weeks to start that process.
I'm finished with you. Thank you.
recognize Mr. Fondale.
I want to speak with regards to the fire the other night. Fire department came out. I just happened to be at the RV park after the game the other night. They came out, responded, and I spoke with one of the firemen that was there. He said the the sprinkler system actually saved further damage to the building.
That is
because
correct.
it came on immediately, but it ran for a little while. But that's where the damage was. Also want to commend Mr. Robert Neese over there. And also, I spoke with Dr. Ammons the night of. The next morning, there were about 30 trucks that were there. They were already there, pulling out insulation and everything, working to restore the building. They had to break a window to keep the building from being further damaged with smoke also. So I just wanted to commend the fire department and also Mr. Meese for the information, and also Dr. Ammons also.
Thank you, Mr. Fondale. The chair recognizes Dr. Davis.
Chair, first of all, I want to thank Mr. Fondale for informing me of the fire and sending photographs of it. That was very informative. But also to Dr. Brown, 52 days. My building burned in my 6th day in office as a dean, Fisher Hall. So don't get discouraged, be encouraged. Well, they said on the 7th day he rested, but on the 7th day we prayed and we got a renovated building, went to Washington, testified before Congress, and got money for construction for all of the 1890s. So there's some good things. Got a chance to restructure the building, put all of the departmental faculty together, build a conference room, updated the technology. So I just hope you was half as successful as we were. But anyway, don't get discouraged. Just keep it going, and appreciate what you do. Thank you.
All right. That's everyone. Do we have any more questions? Seeing that there are no questions, we're going to go to other business. Thank you, Mr. Eli.
You're welcome.
Any other business? Seeing that there's none, we entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved. Meeting adjourned.
All right, thank you, Reverend Henry. We go now to the Finance Committee, Chairman Tarver.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Finance Committee is now called to order. The roll call, Mr. President.
Yes. Dr. Tarver?
Here.
Mr. Hilliard?
Here.
Dr. Davis?
Here.
Dr. Gaines?
Here.
Mr. Gilliam? Miss Williams? Attorney Rutledge?
Here.
You have a quorum, sir.
Thank you. May we have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, raise on the sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Are there any public comments on the agenda item for the committee? Seeing none, we move on to information item 5, interim financial reports. Mr. President, is that Mr. Clinton or you?
I would be Mr. Clinton, McClinton, yes.
Good morning. You have the interim financials, financial reports in your packet. At the time the reports were prepared, as you recall, the campuses were actually in registration, and we have not finalized the census date. Therefore, the revenue you have on there is as of that date that we prepared the report. In addition to that, the financial statement, the expenditures in the financial statement are in line with the budget, and I will address any questions that you all may have.
Any questions, Mr. Clinton? Seeing none, thank you very much, Mr. Clinton. We go on to other business. Any other business? Motion to adjourn, second?
Second.
So ordered.
Thank you, Dr. Tarver. We go now to governance. Chairman Gillum.
Chairman, the Governance Committee is hereby called to order. Mr. President, would you please give us a roll call?
Yes. Mr. Gilliam?
Here.
Dr. Tarver? Dr. Gaines? Reverend Henry? Attorney McGee? Dr. Tolbert? Attorney Rutledge?
Here.
You have a quorum, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. Item number 3 is the adoption of the agenda. What is your pleasure, committee?
So moved.
Been moved and second that the agenda would be adopted. Those in favor, but no sign aye. Opposers, nay. Item 4, Are there any public comments regarding anything on the governance committee agenda? Seeing no one approach the podium, we'll move to item number 5. Number 5 is an informational item, and just prefacing this, if you would, this, of course, as you know, the trustees, the Board of Supervisors, is responsible for evaluating everything and everybody within the system, but it also has a responsibility and a duty for evaluating itself. I believe Dr. Peening is the person that's going to make this presentation for us. And before, as he comes up, let me say we commend the board and thank you all too for participating in this very vital process, the time, the energy that you put into it. And of course, Dr. Peening, it appears to be, the byline is brevity today, so we'll say brief but substantive, if you would.
Amen.
He's been gathered.
Hallelujah. Thank you, Chairman Gillum. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, President, Chancellor, members of the Southern University Board of Supervisors. I'm very proud to say that the 2018-19 results have been completed. This was included in our SACS narrative that was submitted on September 10th. Being very brief, the one overarching score was 4.2 on a 5-point scale, which means that collectively as a corporate body, this body was in agreement with most of the items that were listed on the board self-evaluation, and that's a huge testament. I'll conclude by simply saying and restating the words of Dr. Joseph Silver, who has been acknowledged as being the #1 SACS vice president. When he came before this board, he referred to this board's self-evaluation process as the gold standard, one that is being emulated by other universities. And on that note, I know the chairman passed and emailed the board self-evaluation results to all the members. I'm happy to take any questions.
Are there any questions? Any odds, Mr. Pat?
Real quick, when I first received this, I honestly didn't see any value in it. I thought it was just bull. Yes, ma'am. But then I think when I started working through it and really making a sincere attempt to answer the queries, that I began to see some value. And I know that you probably went through this before, and I probably wasn't paying attention. So if you can, just real briefly, what is the value in this instrument, and what does it do for us as an entity, as well as the system as a whole?
Thank you, Chairman McGee. So the value of the board self-evaluation is a chance for the board to look at itself, look at this organization, this body. We have 5 categories where the board assessed 20 items on a Likert scale, on a 5-point Likert scale. The 3 items that I would say that rank below a 4, and they were right at a 3, 6, 3, 9, were the board looking at its bylaws and the board policy manual. And that's one that received probably, and I use the word the lowest scores, but it really highlighted the fact that this board considers that a priority. And I'm very proud to say that this administration not only has updated the board's bylaws when we included several provisions like the board self-evaluation, board dismissal, conflict of interest, board external relations. We acknowledged the fact that we have a committee, a standing committee, which is the recruitment and committee that was not part of the standing committee. So those items have been updated. The open-ended items were very candid. I certainly appreciated that. But they reflected, I think, 3 themes that I saw. I saw tremendous unity among board members as they looked at its operations. I was able to discern the stewardship of this board, and all of that is reflected when SACS looks at it. But also, most importantly, Mr. Chairman, there was the individuality of board members. While there's tremendous unity, the score was a 4.2. Board members did get a chance to express the individual items that do have some internal concerns about and items that they want to build upon.
Thank you very much. Are there any other questions, or, yes, Mrs. Smith?
I noticed that our board self-eval, the lowest was where board members, and we were consistent with it, where we periodically felt that we did not look at our policies and procedures. So and that was the case also last year. So is there any suggestion from SACS or any related activities where we should, as a board, come together to do that, or is it more or less acceptable that a committee does it?
So this whole board self-evaluation obviously is a requirement by SACS. It's under SACS 4.2G. It's a new requirement that first came, and this board, again, being the gold standard, not only passed a policy, a template, we've completed 2 cycles of evaluation. As it relates to the board policy manual, Madam Chair Lady, under your leadership as chair, we passed the board policy on policies. We've now adopted a system-wide template, and you can see the various campuses. And I want to commend Chancellor Ellis and Shreveport. They have fully used our policy template in promulgating and developing new policies and bringing them to this board. So that activity and the concern that the board has raised is already being addressed via a lot of the actions that started under your leadership, Madam Chair Lady.
Thank you, Mrs. Smith. Are there any other comments, observations, questions? Dr. Davis.
I just want to commend Dr. Penning for this. I chaired, Mr. Gillum, I chaired the committee last year, and I want to thank Chancellor Pierre, who sponsored me to go to SACS meeting, and I came back here under Madam Smith's leadership, and that we should do our own evaluations. And then Dr. Penning was brought on board to do that. So we were ahead of the game, but we need to look internally at ourselves. And I think this is also be good for the administrators, the chancellors, and the presidents and vice presidents to kind of see how the board looks at itself. But if you look at some of them, mine particularly focus on what we were doing as an institution, campus by campus and overall as a system. So I think it's some useful information if we analyze it. There's a lot of numbers, but I'm a numbers guy, so some people are not a numbers guy, but there's a lot of information in those numbers. So if we study those numbers, I know the lawyers, you're a word person, and so you're not on numbers, but these numbers guys love this stuff, Mr. McGee.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Any other questions, comments? I think it speaks great for this board indeed that, you know, it feels good, I would say, fellow board members, that to be the gold standard, to lead the class in something. And it appears as though this is an exemplary example of what should be done and what SACS expects. And we owe a lot of that to the direction of Dr. Penning, who stands before us. Thank you for leading this initiative. Are there any other questions or comments regarding this report or questions to Dr. Penning? Thank you very much, Dr. Penning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Number 6, other business. Is there other business before this committee? Hearing none, we'll move to item number 7. Move for adjournment, been moved and second. Mr. Chairman, the Governance Committee is hereby adjourned.
Thank you, Chairman Gillen. We go now to Personnel Affairs. Chairman McGee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. At this time, we're calling the Personnel Affairs Committee of the Southern University System to order. Roll call, Mr. President.
Yes. Attorney McGee.
Here.
Mr. Bartholomew. Dr. Gaines. Mr. Gilliam. Dr. Tarver. Ms. Williams. Attorney Rutledge.
Here.
We have a quorum, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, we'll entertain a motion for the adoption of the agenda. Is there a motion?
Move.
We have a move and a second. All in favor, please signify by responding aye. Any opposition? Hearing no opposition, motion passes. Do we have any public comments that are germane to the agenda? Seeing that there are no public comments, we will move on to action items. I feel quite certain that everything is in the board packet, so I would entertain a motion to approve action items 5A, B, C, 1 through 7, and then if there is some discussion, we will move into the discussion. Have a motion and a second. Do we have anyone that wishes to ask a question about anything on germane to the agenda from the day? At this time, seeing that there are no questions, all in favor of adopting agenda items 5A, B, C, 1 through 7, please signify by responding aye. Any opposition? Hearing no opposition, motion passes. Is there any other business before the Personnel Affairs Committee of the Southern University System? Seeing that there are no other business, is there a motion to adjourn?
Move.
We are adjourned.
Thank you. That was a rather efficient presentation of the Personnel Affairs Committee.
Less than 10 seconds, Mr. Chair, less than 10 seconds.
We'll see how the next chair lady does with the recruitment and admissions committee. We don't want to put any pressure on you, Chair Williams.
Watch this one. Roll call, please.
Yes. Ms. Williams?
Present.
Mr. Fondell? Mr. Dunbar? Mr. Hilliard? Attorney Shorty? Mrs. Smith? Attorney Rutledge?
Here.
You have a quorum, madam.
Thank you. I would move for the adoption of the agenda at this time. So motion and a second. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Are there any public comments? Seeing none, since this is an information item and the chancellors are going to be given the same report during the board meeting, I would ask that the board would defer this into the later meeting so that we can respect the Board of Regents meeting coming up.
That's fine with me, Madam Chair. Yeah. Okay.
Seeing no further business, I move for adjournment. I haven't been a chair for long.
You win.
All those in favor?
I did not anticipate that.
We'll give her a star. She won. Okay, we're moving right along. Thank you very much for your cooperation. We'll now call to order the meeting of the Southern University Board of Supervisors. Dr. Belton, roll call.
Yes. Attorney Rutledge?
Here.
Dr. Tolbert? Here. Mr. Bartholomew? Dr. Davis? Mr. Dunbar? Mr. Fondell? Dr. Gaines? Mr. Gilliam? Reverend Henry? Mr. Hilliard? Attorney McGee? Attorney Shorty? Mrs. Smith? Dr. Tarver? Dr. Whitfield? Ms. Williams? You have a quorum, sir.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion for the adoption of the agenda. It's been moved. It's properly seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, nay. Hearing none, the ayes have it. Are there any public comments? Any public comments? I see no public comments. We'll move now to the special presentations, and before we get to our present our Above and Beyond Award, we want to acknowledge and congratulate some of our very own. Chief among them is our Vice Chairman, Dr. Talbot, who was unanimously reelected as the National President of the National Baptist Convention of America. We also wish to appreciatively acknowledge Dr. Katera Williams, who was extensively quoted in a national article published in Politico as a result of President Trump's presentation to a gathering of HBCU leaders in Washington about a week or so ago. Yeah. And so, now, I believe the Above and Beyond is coming from the Baton Rouge campus, and we recognize at this time Mr. Cordell Veal.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. President Belton, it's good to be here this morning to introduce one of my employees as the Above and Beyond Award. Miss Demetrius Capers has been employed by my department since 2017. She's an outstanding custodian. She goes beyond her call of duty to do a great job and get the job done in a timely manner. Ms. Capers is a good employee. She has a great attitude and takes pride in what she does as a custodian. She takes her work very seriously, and she works in the facility that we know as TTL Lane. Some people call TTL Lane in the daytime the House of Pain, because it's inundated with a lot of student traffic, visitors from all over the state by day. And at night, TTL Lane is known as the Titanic because of how well lit it is at night. Ms. Capers was nominated by Detective Zoe Collier of the Southern University Police Department. Several months ago, there was an incident where one of the students' laptops was presumed soon to be stolen. Detective Collier was called in to investigate the computer being missing. During the investigation, Ms. Capers was seen on surveillance camera removing the computer from the classroom. Not knowing she was being videoed, she took the computer and gave it to one of the faculty members. So as the investigation prolonged, Ms. Capers was called in. She was questioned, and during the question, she said, "I didn't steal the computer." She actually took the computer and gave it to one of the faculties. The surveillance did not record how honest and the integrity of Ms. Capers. During the investigation, when it was over with, Detective Collier said, "I am going to nominate Ms. Capers as being above and beyond." But not knowing Detective Collier, as she ended the investigation, Ms. Capers advised her she wouldn't do a thing like that to the students. Because if it wasn't for the students here at this great institution, this institution would not exist. So now at this time, I would like and proudly announce Ms. Demetrius Capers as our above and beyond recipient. Thank you very much.
Just want to say thank you for acknowledging the work I've been performing. I just want to say thank you.
And certificate which appreciatively acknowledges your work and dedication as the recipient of today's Above and Beyond Award. Thank you very, very, very much.
You gonna take a picture? Okay.
Mr. McGee, you wish to speak?
Mr. Chair, at this time,
Oh, yeah, we're at action item 6, action item. Mr. McGee.
yeah, at this time I move, again, since all of the information was in our packets, we move favorable passage of action items 6A through F.
Okay. It's been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor signify of approval of action items 6A through F. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Hearing none, the ayes have it. Now, board members, please indulge us because we do have the chief of the, is it the Homer Nation, Chancellor Pierre? We have approved an MOU between, that's item E, the United Homer Nation and the Southern University Law Center to pursue federal recognition, which is a very, very important undertaking. And so we would like to briefly allow the chief to have a brief word, who will be introduced by Chancellor Pierre.
Thank you, Chairman Rutledge. Members of the board, we are honored to have Chief Crapell, who is the chief of the United Homer Nation, which the historical significance between United Homer Nation and the Southern University system is extremely important for people to know. We actually, on this Baton Rouge landmass, sit on the lands, the traditional lands and hunting grounds of the United Homer Nation. The very red stick for which Baton Rouge is named is on the grounds of the United Homer Nation when the French came up the river and sort of turned in the bend of the river and noted the point, the high point, Baton Rouge. So I want to have Chief Crapell come forward, particularly after Governor Edwards declared October 14th to be Indigenous and Native American Recognition Day in the state of Louisiana. And we are going to help them pursue federal recognition with the Congress and the Bureau of Indian Affairs. Chief Crapell, please.
Helito, o masia, inespeche, okata and sihili. Miko o mas. Hello, I'm Chief Crapell of the United Homer Nation. I'm the first chief to speak our original language in 100 years. That's a blessing from God. I'm proud and honored to be here with Southern University and Chancellor Pierre for inviting us here. As Chief of the United Homer Nation, it's a very important day for our people. It's a very important day for me as the chief. You know, I tell my people, the year I've been in office, I wish I was further than where I was. But it's not where I want to be, it's where God has me today. I'm where He wants to be. But He continues to open doors and move us forward. As a pastor, I believe everything has a reason and a season and a certain time. And right now is our time to unite with Southern University. It's such a blessing to be here and be at your meeting and to also return to our hunting grounds that we marked this place with a red stick, Baton Rouge. It was a mark between the Homers and the Bayou Goulish to let them know this was our land. And when the French came down, that's where they met us. And as the Europeans came in, we moved further south. And then we got all the way to the swamps. And they wasn't coming down there because we had alligators. But it's a great honor and a pleasure to be here, to be at your meeting, to get to speak on behalf of the United Homer Nation. And like I said again, it's a great day for both of us to come together and move forward for all our people. I just want to thank you and say bless you and continue moving forward. And I have a gift for Chancellor Pierre from our tribe as one of our baskets that we make, homemade baskets for my elders. So thank you for having me here. Thank you on behalf of the United Homer Nation, and we appreciate it. God bless you.
Thank you. We will go now to item 6G resolutions. Dr. Williams.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. The September 2019 commendations and resolutions are as follows. Commendations are extended to the Central Intelligence Agency, also known as the CIA, for establishing a partnership with the Southern University system. We are most appreciative of the selection, which was based on the university's accredited programs, the university staff and personnel, our graduation rates, and the CIA's track record of onboarding outstanding talent from Southern University. We thank you again and extend commendations on behalf of the board and the entire administration. Commendations to also several constituencies in the city of Lake Charles, Louisiana, where the Southern University football team played the McNeese State team, and the Board of Supervisors of the Southern System would like to commend the Lake Charles City Council, the Calcasieu Parish School Board, Calcasieu Parish Police Jury, Wilfred Carter, Matilda Miller, Kevin Guidry, Christian Baptist Church, and McNeese State University for the way that they distinguished themselves in support of this football game. Again, thank you to also the Southern students, the Human Jukebox, the football team, administrators, and fans. Condolences to the Hubert Butler Lamott family. Hubert Lamott was a retired professor of mathematics at Southern University, and his services were Thursday, September 5th, 2019, at St. Mark United Methodist Church. Condolences to the family. Also, our condolences are extended to the Primus Robert Howard Sr. family. Mr. Howard was a native of Shreveport, Louisiana, and the brother of former Southern University board member Dottie Bell. Mr. Howard passed on September 6, 2019. He was a graduate of Southern University and a life member of the Southern University Alumni Federation, as well as Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity, and a lifelong educator in the Caddo Parish school system, where he worked as a biology instructor, a guidance counselor, and assistant principal at Fair Park High School. Mr. Chair, members of the board, this concludes our September 2019 commendations and resolutions.
As the chair and the vice chair have left the room, I think I'm gonna take, oh crap. I was about to have a coup, Chairman Rutledge. You didn't even have to resign for this one.
Have you completed the?
Yes, sir.
All right, I apologize. I had duty called by your break. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Hearing none, the ayes have it, and the resolutions are adopted. We go now to item 7, informational items. A, update on the uniform affiliate agreement between the Southern University System and the Southern University Alumni Federation and the Southern University System Foundation. Who's going to be providing, Dr. Bell?
Yes, Mr. Chair, members of the board, simply put, and as you're aware, Southern University A&M College submitted its compliance document as a first step in advancing our aim for reaffirmation for accreditation with the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools. As we examine the affiliation agreements between the Southern University System and the Alumni Federation and Foundation, we found it prudent to have to revise it to ensure that it was in compliance with some of the requirements of SACS. We have done that, and we offer this as an informational item such that you could delineate the changes that we made in those agreements.
Okay, thank you. We go now to, I see no request to be recognized. We go now to, it says here 7C, but it should be B, the System President's Report.
Yes. If I may, members, I just want to speak to our engagement with our colleagues during the convening of the HBCU Week in Washington, D.C. As you know, Southern University was well represented, and in fact, our campus was recognized as one of the institutions with the highest number of student scholars in attendance. And one of those scholars are with us today in the name of Miss Irene Lewis. Miss Lewis actually took center stage while in Washington when she had a one-on-one conversation with the U.S. Secretary of Agriculture, the Honorable Sonny Perdue. And I was wondering if you would indulge me in recognizing Ms. Lewis, who's with us today.
Very good.
I'd like to also thank Chancellor Pierre for helping us facilitate that engagement during that trip. You should also be informed of my privilege to join with my colleagues at LSU and Baton Rouge Community College this week, I believe it was, where we gave a progress report as relates to the capital area promise. One of the things that we gave indication to was the degree to which we were helping shape, give an indication of our engagement with high schools. But one of the great things that will be occurring as a result of our participation will be next month, and we'd like to invite you to be a part of that. That event will be where Southern University will be hosting over 3,000 seventh graders here on our campus as a part of our aim to really engage with students at a very early age. And so we'll get some markers out to you such that you can shape your schedule to attend. We really hope that you may. And then finally, I'd just like to, on a personal note, offer my appreciation to this board for your statement of confidence in my leadership. We have come a long way as a board, and it's clear to me that the progress that our system and campuses are making are as a result of your engagement. So I want to express my appreciation to you. We kind of glossed over the enrollment, but I am pleased to report to you that on the Southern University Baton Rouge campus, that this fall we are now hosting more than 7,000 students on the Baton Rouge campus. And I think that's certainly evidence of the talent that we have on this campus, and the degree to which we have individuals who are bringing a lot of commitment to advancing the goals of this campus. So again, just allow me to express my appreciation for the opportunity to work with you in advancing the interests of Southern University and the A&M College system. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Belton, and I also want to join you in thanking our board for speaking with one voice today. And I trust you know, Dr. Belton, with confidence comes expectations.
Sure.
And so we look forward to you and your staff not only meeting those expectations but exceeding them.
Yes.
We'll go now to our campus reports. We'll start with Dr. Milne-Devizan.
Good morning to the members of the board, colleagues, and guests. I will try to keep this brief. The Chancellor's report is enclosed for your review. However, I would like to make a few comments on some highlights. SUNO was acknowledged in the Louisiana Weekly as being one of the top producers of HBCU graduates. We also had two brothers, Nathan and Nathaniel Albert, acknowledged in the Hechinger report for their participation in Brothers Empowered to Teach initiative, which is an initiative that encourages especially African American males to become teachers. These two brothers were also recent graduates with honors from Southern University at New Orleans, and they participated in the DXC technology program. Dr. Paris Favorite, who's the Director of Forensic Science and a SUNO alumna, has been nominated to receive the Torchbearers Award this year from 100 Coalition of Black Women. SUNO will be holding a scholarship banquet tonight, A Night with the Chancellor, which will award scholarship funding to students at Southern University in New Orleans. And on tomorrow, SUNO will have a walk-run, which is also a scholarship benefit. This concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mims Devazan. We'll go now to Dr. Ellis.
Good morning again. Just would definitely say the Chancellor's report for SUSLA included. Wanted to just highlight one important initiative for SUSLA. This week we hosted a SACS accreditation team that looked at the SUSLA Connect program, and we have been here in Baton Rouge and in New Orleans all of this week hosting that team. The visit went extremely well. Only one recommendation, which is minor, that we plan on responding to before the end of this year. But most importantly, what I wanted to say is that I was truly proud to be a member of the Southern University community this week, because we came together as a system under the leadership of Dr. Belton, Dr. Williams, Katara Williams, Dr. Ammons, Dr. Devazan, all came together, and I was just so proud to be a member of the Southern University system, because it shows what we can become and what we are if we just join forces and collectively use our resources for the better good of our students. So thank you.
Thank you. Chancellor Pierre.
Yes, again, good morning, Chairman Rutledge and members of, honorable members of the board. You have the report from the Southern University Law Center. I want to thank the board again for having confidence in our ability to put forth new initiatives before the board, and truly it's a historic day to have the Chief United Home and Nation here with us. In addition to that, I wanted to also have the board members who can come out next month. We will be hosting a delegation from the Silicon Valley who will be coming to Southern University Law Center and the Southern University Baton Rouge landmass to talk about their talent needs and be meeting with our students. And it's the largest delegation of Silicon Valley executives ever to come basically to the South. They just don't come this way. So we'll keep you informed about that and give you an opportunity to meet with the folks that come. Again, thank you for all that you do for the Southern University Law Center, and we appreciate your engagement with what we do. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. McMeans.
Good morning.
Good morning and welcome again.
Thank you. Thank you. And I had a couple of conversations last night and this morning, and yes, I am here. I'm a legitimate Jaguar, traded in my yellow jacket gear, and I'm ready to wear that of the Jaguar. In fact, I am closing on my home this afternoon, so I'm excited about that as well. First, I would like to open by thanking Dr. Reuben Walker for doing an outstanding job and serving in an interim capacity. Dr. Walker was, I think, my first or second call I received when I became Chancellor Dean, and he has called me every day, whether I wanted him to call me or not. Texted me or what have you. And so I appreciate that, and I'm happy to have him as a part of our team. I also want to thank the President's office, President Belton, President Ammon, Dr. Katara Williams, all those individuals who made my transition as easy as possible. It's very difficult to transition in the middle of a semester, and being in a capacity for 21 years, it was really hard to kind of educate those who are going to take over at West Virginia State to get them to feel that they will indeed carry on what we started. Also, thank you to the College of Agricultural, Family and Consumer Sciences faculty and staff, as well as the Ag Center for the reception that they put on for me at the multipurpose complex on Wednesday. It was very nice. I enjoyed I think I talked to each individual, and I'm extremely excited about the opportunities there because we are up against the clock as it relates to meetings. I will hold off on my agenda items as Chancellor Dean to the next meeting. But I would like to take an opportunity to recognize 2 students because in all that we do, and I think the gentleman stated earlier, if it not for students, none of us would be here in our various capacities. And I see Southern as a student-centered university, institution of higher learning. So to that fact, I want to recognize 2 students and an organization that I think we should know that we have world-class students, second to none. And that goes back to the quality of faculty that we have at Southern University and throughout our campuses, and the quality of students that we have. I am so proud to talk about these organizations because I was chair of one and national president of one, and I had no idea until I arrived that this is what we're, the quality students that we're putting out at Southern University, more particularly the College of Ag. First of all, I think more recently at our most recent 1890 Research Symposium, I was co-chair of that symposium. We had over 1,100 participants there, of which I think about 600 students. One of our own students by the name of Miss Alex Harris, won first place in that conference. You're talking about all 19 1890 land-grant institutions, and this young lady stood out as one of the best among the best. And I'm so proud of not only of her winning first place, but listen to this topic because I think it's very relevant and germane to the national conversation around student debt. But the presentation was an economic investigation of student loan debt and borrowers' repayment concerns. As a matter of fact, I am hoping, Dr. Walker, that we can possibly get her to actually put that presentation on somewhere on campus so individuals can go and actually hear how stellar that presentation was. Alex, are you here? Is that okay? Well, anyway, I will make sure that I get a chance to engage with her in a conversation about putting that presentation on again. And last but not least, minorities in agriculture, natural resources, and related sciences, known as Manners. I've been a member of Manners since 1990 as a sophomore at Alabama A&M University. And before you ask me who will I be rooting for that day, who paying the check, so I will be wearing Southern University gear. And I apologize to all of my A&M Bulldogs before they reach campus.
You're smart, Doc. I keep telling you.
Does that conclude
I'm no dummy.
Does that conclude your presentation, Doc?
No, I have one. I wanted to recognize our chapter here. With the members of Manners, please stand for the Southern University chapter. They have over 65 members, and Dr. Snowden is the advisor, and there are other faculty members involved. But I wanted to take opportunity to specifically talk about a specific student. And I didn't steal this, Dr. Belton. It's just a coincidence.
Yes.
But Miss Irene Lewis, who is not only a stellar 4.0 student, am I correct? But she is, this is very important for you to understand, she is the national undergraduate president of Manners. And the reason I say this, that since 1990, that is one of the most competitive, some say cutthroat type of competition, because people really want, and you're talking about schools such as The Ohio State, Texas A&M, LSU, Auburn, you know, you're talking about the big elite school, and the national undergraduate president for that society that consists of thousands of students is right here at Southern University. So I will look, that goes back to the faculty and the quality of students that we have. So thank you very much.
Right.
That concludes my report.
Sure. I want to get your mic on. We'll request to speak until I can turn your mic on.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Oh, no, I turned Dr. Davis's on. Let's see here.
Oh, Lord, turn it off, turn it off, turn it off, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. McGee, and hit your request to speak again, Dr. Davis, and I'll reckon. Okay.
Yes, sir. I would just like the, and I forgot her name, and I'm gonna apologize. The young lady,
Irene.
Miss Irene, if you can come to the mic and introduce yourself to us, I would appreciate it, because we are certainly ecstatic and happy would be an understatement, ma'am, for your achievements, and we want you to know that you make us proud.
Let's see here.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Irene Lewis. I am a senior agricultural science student with a concentration in plant and soil science. I am from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and this year I am serving as the 2019-2020 National Undergraduate Student President for Manners. And in this role, I will be basically in charge of making sure that all of our regional vice presidents are executing their clusters well, which are happening this fall, and also advocating for undergraduate students with our executive board. So as Dr. McMean mentioned, Manners is a national organization. We have over 50 active chapters across the country, and we really focus on providing both high school students and collegiate students, as well as our alumni and professional members, with professional development and mentorship opportunities, while also advocating for diversity, equity, and inclusion within the field of agriculture. So thank you, Dr. McMean, for recognizing me, and also thank you for Dr. Snowden and our student presidents for working with me as I've taken on this role and tried to represent our university well. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
I'm sorry? I went to Runnels School. Yes, I'm originally from Central, the city of Central, so thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and thank you, Dr. McMeans. Your comments regarding student loan debt is timely. I believe it's either on today's online edition or yesterday's online edition of The Advocate that shows the average student leaves college in Louisiana with $26,000 in student loan debt. We go now to Dr. Ammons.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, President Belton, colleagues. The report for Southern University Baton Rouge is enclosed in your packet, but I wanted to highlight just a few issues. One, the College of Sciences and Engineering recently received funding for projects that total more than $2.6 million. One of those projects, enhancing additive manufacturing education with virtual reality and cybersecurity from the National Science Foundation, brought in $1.6 million. And I want to congratulate Dean Carrier and all of the faculty who were involved in writing these successful grants. Also, the computer science program, which is also in the College of Sciences and Engineering, received notice that it has been reaccredited until September 30th of 2025. This is a full term, the highest level term accreditation for a program accredited by the Accreditation Board for Engineering and Technology, or ABET. And as you know, ABET accredits college and university programs in disciplines of applied and natural science, computing, engineering, and engineering technology. Also, just a couple of days ago, we hosted our annual career fair. And I want to congratulate Ms. Montgomery, Mr. Willis, and the team. We had 102 companies represented on this campus. I had the opportunity, as well as the president and the team, deans and faculty, to interact with officials from these companies. And the good thing is they were extremely excited about the talent that they identified. Many of them showed me the resumes that they were taking back that our students will be in the employment sphere for their companies, and they plan to keep coming back to Southern University. One of the other interesting things is that I was speaking with one representative, and they recruit only a few HBCUs. Southern, of course, is on that list. And the reason that they are recruiting here is because our computer science program checked all of the boxes for the various disciplines that they are interested in. And so I want to say to the faculty and the deans, congratulations as well, because it is the talent that we are developing here at this institution that brings these companies to our campus. Lastly, great news. We have officially trademarked the human jukebox. Attorney Robert worked with the foundation and also Dr. Merrick and the communications team to secure this designation. Now we can start placing a registered symbol in a circle on any materials promoting the human jukebox. And I can assure you there is more to come as we secure our brand. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
Very good. Dr. Emmons, we have a few board members who have requested to be recognized. We'll begin first with Dr. Davis.
Yes, thank you. I just want to acknowledge that the Greater Mount Carmel Baptist Church Sunday had Family and Friends Day, and we had a large number of Southern University students. Top Jags came to our church, where I've been a member for over 40 years. And also Mr. Derek Warren, Executive Director of the Alumni Foundation, and Ms. Dr. Robin Merrick was there, and I think Attorney Tracy Woods, and maybe I'm missing some others, but very impressive group of young people came to our church, and I understand that church used to be the church for Southern University. I know I was introduced to it when I first came here as a faculty member over 40 years ago. And the pastor is the Reverend Cleve Lowe. Where the Reverend Talbot go? But he's a North Louisiana guy, and he's doing a good job over there. So you all invited to the church. Come over, visit with us, join. There are a number of people who are on the faculty who's a member of that church, and a lot of retired people. So come visit us, come see us. And I was going to say that y'all haven't invited my pastor to come and pray, but I'm going to extend an invitation to you, to an invitation to him, to come and pray to this group at some time. Thank you
sir.
very much. And also congratulations to just some outstanding young people. Top Jag came from all over the country. People impressed. They came from Chicago and various places around the country coming here. So I just want to state we're looking up. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. We'll go now to Mrs. Smith.
Thank you, Chair. I've thoroughly enjoyed listening to the updates on the campus and the things that are going forward. However, I would like to know, what is the online enrollment looking like? Is it up? Is it about the same, or has it decreased? That's one. I have three. Go ahead. You can answer that one first.
Okay. Yes, it's up. We have 160 students who have registered, and we're continuing to work with. Hold on, that's from last year. And we're continuing to work with those students who have not completed the registration process.
Okay. That is my next question. Will you give me a brief update, the board, a brief update on the registration process? Have we completed it, or we're approaching completion, or where are we?
You want to give it, but while she's coming, let me say this. We will report on Monday, and we are continuing to work to complete the registration process, although the Board of Regents has changed their official reporting time until the end of the semester.
Okay. And I still would like to hear yours. While she's coming, I would like to ask you, Dr. Ammons, what is the progress on our College of Education as far as reorganizing, restructuring, and making it move forward? Do we have any yet?
Well, one of the things that we have done, over the past year is to engage in what we call a program prioritization process. This is where we are taking a look at all of our academic disciplines to ensure that they are aligned with workforce needs here in the state of Louisiana as well as nationally. We have entered into the second phase of that process. We now have the data. We have put together a committee, and we brought in a consultant to help facilitate this process. As we complete it and make recommendations to the president and to you, one of the goals that we have is to recommend some structural reorganization of our academic units. Because education and nursing have been moved into the 4- and 5-star categories for the state of Louisiana, we feel that it is imperative that we take a close look at the organizational structure and the programs that we deliver through a unit that will have our education programs. So we're studying it, and at the end of this academic year, we plan to bring recommendations to the president and to the board.
Thank
We
you.
haven't gotten there yet, but
You're working toward it.
we are,
Okay.
yes.
Good morning.
We are really optimistic about our numbers with regard to registration. As we started out the year, there were some complaints that did happen, and we put some processes in place. And so we are obviously working to ensure that all of our students will be registered, and we'll be happy to provide a comprehensive report when we return next month.
Thank you. In that she has spoken, I've just gotten this online program for New Orleans. You did not, I know you were cutting things short, and I'm trying to cut it short too. But I see where, is there anything that you would like to share with us about your online program and what you're doing at SUNO right quick?
Our online program enrollment is up this year, and we are anticipating implementing some additional programs, and we've just had a discussion with Ms. Smith this morning about taking a look at how we could be innovative, especially with the advancements with DXC technology and our forensic science program, by perhaps being the institution that may develop a forensics technology certificate as a part of enhancing the online program and the area of technology.
Okay. I see you're up 278.
Yes.
That's, congratulations.
Thank you.
Did that conclude your question, Ms. Smith?
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank
Mr. Fondale.
Thank you. I wanted to recognize Career Services, Ms. Tamara Montgomery. On this past Sunday, they provided an opportunity over at J.C. Penney's where they shut the store down at 6 o'clock from 6 to 9, and it allowed an opportunity for our students, which were bused to the J.C. Penney Mall at the Mall of Louisiana, along with the alums and administrators, people that have ties to Southern. And what they did was they gave an extra 30% off of the best price. So I just want to commend Dr. Ammons, Dr. Belton, and recognizing her for what she did and making sure that our students had an opportunity to go there and to get the professional clothes that they needed to get. Thank you.
Is she here?
She was here earlier.
Okay.
She was here earlier. And one more thing, Chair. I also want to recognize her also. They made mention of her being really the glue that kept everything together with building this relationship with the Central Intelligence Agency. So I thought it was important that we make sure that we recognize her. She has a great staff over there that she's working with also. So thank you again.
And she has a closet that she maintains. I don't know if I'm referring to it correctly, but for students who are through career services who are going on interviews, who may not have a dress shirt, I know I donated to it. So board members, to the extent you have some old shirts and some of those fine suits, Dr. Davis, that you can't get in anymore like me, and you wanna donate, please consider donating to her office, and she allows our students to use them when they're undertaking or when they're going on various interviews. I think that is it, and I want to thank you all, each of you, for working with us and cooperating such that our folks can get to the Board of Regents. We go now to item 8, any other business?
Move for adjournment.
It's moved for adjournment. The meeting stands adjourned. Go Jaguars. This weekend we travel to